I want to go through one of my favourite ever shots today, which is from Toy Story 2. You'll probably recognise it. I'm going to play through it first, and then I want to point out some of the stuff I've noticed from it, from my frame by framing. So.
Say, little mister, you notice any trouble around these parts?
Nary a bit. Not with Sheriff Woody around.
Wait. I got it. This is great. Okay, the bandits got the critters tied up in the burning barn, and now for the best part. Help us! The barn's on fire! I've got your critters. No need to worry. Woody saves the day again!
There you go. So yeah, one of the, in my opinion, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who would agree, one of the great animated scenes of sort of modern animations. It's pretty awesome. So I just want to fill you in real quick while I'm doing this. I just finished Animation Mentor, and while I'm kind of finishing off my showreel, I have set the challenge to myself to watch, hopefully, at least one clip, frame by frame, through one great clip of animation every day for the next month or so. The idea being I'm going to pick up lots of cool stuff, and hopefully just my spacing and arcs and stuff will be kind of improved by osmosis just by watching some awesome animations. So I've done that with this clip today. I'm not going to go through the whole thing and show you what I've seen, but I do want to point out a couple of little things that are just super cool. So hopefully you'll enjoy it or learn something as well. And yeah, I shall show you what I've got. Sorry, I'm going to turn off my phone so that doesn't ping. Alright, so I'm just going to focus on Woody really here. The first thing that is just cool and it's good to be aware of is how, in this case, he opens the barn doors, and the animator Doug Sweetland really wanted us to see the face. That was like the important thing, this whole pose, but the face as well. So notice how it opens up, and where my mouse is, so it starts in the face here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. It sort of starts to move there. 19. Sort of at least 19 frames, probably a couple more, where I didn't have to move my mouse at all, and the face is just right there, right in the center of the screen pretty much, and he just didn't move, and he's just been like that. This is the first thing we've got to see. We've got to see this cool pose, we've got to read that facial expression and set this emotion of the character up, which is this kind of like cocky play acting that he's doing. So yeah, he just opens the door, and then it's like bang, I'm in my pose, and he just holds that for a bit. He's got these little circular movements in the hands, but otherwise pretty much just locked in pose, and then it just starts to move over. It's just super cool. It's also helped by the fact the lighting, the face is super light, and that this bit's kind of dark behind, so really your eye is just drawn right here. So it's cool. So it's just a cool way to start it. But the main thing I wanted to sort of point out was how in this shot, with this character, Doug Sweetland has basically broken so many rules in inverted commas of body mechanics, really. And I'm going to go through and point out a couple of those, where he's done that. But it's not random. Like, he has clearly, I assume this was decided in sort of the early tests of Woody, they've decided to animate him like he's on strings almost half the time, and in this scene in particular, he's like a puppet on strings. There's just no weight to him, in a good way. I mean, this is obviously on purpose. So where do we first see it? Right here. That is off balance a lot, and that's the end of that pose as well. Like, he's stopped there at the hips, but if you look, the center of gravity for him right now is kind of there. It should be here. So I mean, theoretically it should be more like that. but it's the beginning of this. No, this is Woody. He's kind of on strings, like invisible metaphorical strings, so they can do it. So he just kind of holds him in that pose. And I just want to point this out because it's so cool as well. Watch this little wave through the arms here. Look at that. That's so cool. Anyway, there we go again. Way off balance. There's the center of gravity-ish. Should be here. But again, that's what they wanted to do. And no, he's on 2 feet, so that's fine. I'm going to zoom through a bit because this is all super cool, and I seriously just recommend like frame through this whole shot. And I spent like half an hour doing it, but I don't want to do too long of a video here, so I'm just going to skip through all this cool stuff, which is all super awesome, and just really highlight this point again of him being like a puppet on strings. So watch him when he gets really excited here. Okay, so it starts here. So he goes, his bottom foot just randomly slides across the ground because he's just, remember, he's on strings, so he's just got no weight really to carry, he's just being pulled. And because he's a ragdoll as well, some of the leg poses that he does through this are super cool and broken in inverted commas, but appropriate for this. So again, sliding foot, no weight on him really. I mean, this is not a very normal angle. He's pushing this so much, it's awesome. Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty broken shape of the leg, so he's just using that, emphasizing the character. It's all about who is this character. Well, he's ragdoll, so his legs can do all sorts of random stuff, and he's this puppet, so again, there's not really much weight going on. So here's the first bit. This section has just got no weight on purpose. So he pings up without really pushing off on a leg. No, he doesn't push off on either leg, so he just goes up of its own accord. Comes down. You could say that's a push off. You could. So we can give him that one. Comes up in midair, kind of like the hips kind of stick. There's no weight on that one at all, because as you're jumping up, if you're doing it a more sort of conventional way, you might go with this leg, and you might go so that then you had that leg was pushing off, that would still be on the ground. But he hasn't, he's got that leg here, so it's just popping off again. So they're all just kind of popping. It gives this really light feeling like he's being pulled off the ground. Same again on this one. Again, there's no sort of leg pushing off, it's just like beep, it just pops off again. It's awesome. I mean, this makes no sense. Look at, he's so ungainly at this point and really breaking all the rules. Watch the feet, and just shoot across back here. How does that work? Even the hips, are they in a proper arc? Yeah, okay, we can give him that. Again, it's just on the ground for 2 frames, then straight up again. So not really giving much feeling of weight. Like a big, imagine a really big, heavy, realistically animated character. If it jumped and landed and then it was going to jump again, you'd need a fair few frames on the ground for it to take that weight as it fell and then push itself off again. So with him, he's like hitting the ground, 2 frames, back up, no real push off to mention. Look at this, 1 frame, and he's up again. Now, and then this is the final bit of cool puppetness. So he wants to go over here to show her his next sort of bit of acting. And this is so metaphorical, it's awesome. So remember I was saying how he's on strings, invisible magical strings. So he wants to go in his mind, but the puppeteer in this section isn't ready for it. So Woody starts to move, but the puppeteer isn't going. So these invisible strings kind of like seemingly hold him back, and so he can't go. He's flailing around trying to get there, and then he has to come back, and then the puppeteer's kind of ready by this point, so then he can move. So the puppeteer pulls him, and he flails off with these big windmilling arms and legs. It's so cool. It's, yeah. And then watching that in full speed, all that stuff, it's just... There you go. Awesome. The only other little thing, I mean, I should really leave it there, but I do just want to point out this one thing that is something I'm not very good at, and it is, where is it? Here we go. So these little arm moves he does from here. He goes 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Just 2 frames up down up down up down up down up down, and it gives it this really frantic kind of. I don't know about you guys as animators or people just watching, but I would always feel too scared to do that. I might do like 4 frames up and down, and it just wouldn't have that same energy. So again, I'm just gonna play that whole bit, but watch those little hand moves as well. There you go. So there you go. Hopefully that was remotely interesting. Hopefully you noticed something you hadn't noticed before. If you like this and you'd like me to do any others, then I'm happy to do them. So just drop me a message or comment or whatever. And if not, if you hated it, please keep your thoughts to yourself. Alright, have a good one. Bye.